welcome to my channel. My name is Kaylin, and if you've never been here before, I have an autoimmune disease called alopecia, so I like to make wig reviews on my channel. I also like to make cleaning videos just because I really enjoy those, and today we're doing something new because I'm 15 weeks pregnant, so I thought it would be a lot of fun. I've watched a lot of these videos to do like a first trimester recap, symptoms, advice type thing. I'm not an expert. This is my first pregnancy ever, so yeah, I still thought it would be fun though and just helpful for anybody, and also for my husband and I to look back on one day. So if you are curious, some of what my symptoms were, some of my thoughts, advice, then keep watching, and if you enjoyed the video, you should give it a thumbs up. Also, I know the lighting is kind of weird and warm, and ideally I would be in front of those windows with the natural light coming in, but the sun is actually that way, so like other side of the house. So if I do sit there, I did try, and it actually just puts like a huge shadow over me. So we're in front of a lamp for some lighting, and I'm just gonna pull up my list I made on my phone, and I'm gonna share some of my symptoms. Okay, so if you don't know, the first trimester of your pregnancy is, I've seen a couple different things on apps and like websites, but they all say it's between weeks 1 to either week 12 or all the way through the end of week 13, and when you start your 14th week, you're out of the first trimester. So I don't really know for sure if it's week 12 or week 14, but I am officially out of that time frame. And I also wanted to say, a lot of pretty much everything I've read and the videos I've watched have all said that every woman is different, and then every baby is different too. So that's important to keep in mind. There are certain symptoms that are common, but the same woman can have completely different symptoms with her first child versus her second child, and then just symptoms from person to person can be totally different. And also, a lot of the reason why you get a lot of different symptoms in your first trimester is because you're getting like an influx of hormones, and that's why the first trimester can be known to be like the worst. And again, this is just all stuff I've read. I have a couple apps on my phone, and for me, I didn't love the first trimester, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to preface with like all of that stuff. So I think my two like biggest symptoms, I would say, and my two least favorite were, everything says like fatigue, but it's like, it's not just fatigue. I was exhausted. Like, I would go to work, I'm gonna try not to say like an I would go to work, and I work Monday through Friday during the day. I would go to work, and all I could think about was getting home and curling up on the couch with my dogs. The simplest tasks just seemed so hard. This isn't to like scare anybody, but it's just the truth. Just everything was just the smallest tasks. It was like, oh, that sounds so just exhausting. So that was not a lot of fun, but it does get better as you get out of the first trimester a little bit, for most people, at least for me so far. But that was big one, was just exhausted, fatigue. The second one, which was one of my very least favorites, and I would say it started at about maybe like 4 weeks or 5 weeks along, was really, really swollen, tender breasts, kind of like the way it can feel before you're gonna start your period. It was like that for me for, like I said, like weeks 4 and 5 all the way probably to like week 12 or 13, I would say. And that one was just, for me, I just hated it. It felt miserable. What else? Let's see. Oh, so the next two are ones that I had no idea were symptoms, which was bloating. I was so bloated for weeks, and constipation. I had no idea. So those were not so much fun. Those have gone away though. I feel like the bloating went away Probably a couple weeks ago, and I'm 15 weeks now, so maybe like 12 or 13 weeks, kind of just like the swollen tender breasts did. Let's see. Mood swings. I did have some mood swings. I have to say, I really didn't feel like myself a lot during the first trimester. I was either like happy or sad or just kind of like in a daze because I was so tired, and probably a lot of the reason I didn't quite feel like myself was because I was so tired, I think. But yeah, definitely a little bit of mood swings, but that's also very much to be expected. Oh, because of the bloating, I was going to backtrack a little bit. I wouldn't say I was like showing. I do feel like I started to maybe pop a little bit at like 11 or 12 weeks, but still very minimal. But the bloating it made me feel like I was at that really awkward stage of pregnancy where you don't look pregnant, but you look like you ate a big lunch, kind of. So I didn't really love that. Especially because I was still at the point where you're kind of trying to hide it. I didn't tell anybody until right after 12 weeks, so I just wore like lots of really big loose shirts. As far as like nausea and food aversion type stuff, I never threw up, thank goodness, and I never was super duper nauseous. Hardly at all, really. So I never did like ginger tablets or tea or anything like that because I didn't really need to, which I was really, really thankful for. But I did have some food aversion, so like weird things that turned me off. I have not wanted eggs since I found out I was pregnant, which you can't eat them, you just need the yolks to be fully cooked. And I actually they still sound gross even though I'm out of the first trimester, so that's one thing that hasn't gone away for me. And then I did have a couple nights I was cooking dinner where chicken was kind of weird, and then I noticed I had one of the bigger things was just like meat aversions, and what was odd about it was mostly ground meat. So there was a night I made a meal with ground beef, and I remember I cooked it and then I couldn't eat it after. It just looked really gross, so my husband ate it, and I think I had like a peanut butter and jelly or something. And then I did ground turkey one night, and for some reason the smell of it was so gross. And then we actually had ground elk one night, and that was pretty gross to me, to be honest, which is normally something that wouldn't gross me out, which kind of also brings me to the next one, which is heightened sense of smell. So I did notice a heightened sense of smell like right away. Nothing smells like different. It smells the same, just stronger, which I love essential oils, so for those that was pretty cool. For not so pleasant smells, that wasn't great. I think those were the main ones. The last one I have on here was I did start to notice I was getting veiny, and that is just, I am pretty pale for one, and I feel like seeing my veins is not that abnormal, but I started noticing like a lot of veins, mostly like in my thighs and my sides, and like on my chest, and that's just, there's a lot of blood flow going on when you're pregnant. So I definitely noticed that. I want to say I noticed that around weeks like 9 or 10 probably. I don't really have any special products to share. I think mostly because, like I said, I wasn't nauseous or throwing up, so I don't have any like nausea type products to recommend or anything like that. The only things, and there's a lot of things that you can't take when you're pregnant. You can't take Tylenol, and I took that a couple times, but I tried to not overdo it, just because less is better. And I bought Gas X for the first time in my life because I was really hoping that it was going to help with the bloating, and some days I felt like it did and some days I felt like it didn't. So I don't know if Gas X is necessarily for bloating, but I just figured if I was bloated because it was gas, that maybe that would help release it a little bit. So those were most of my symptoms, and then I just wanted to end this with like a little bit of my advice, which again, first time pregnant, not a pro by any means, but I did have a little bit of advice that I would give myself now after going through like the kind of rougher first trimester. I think a big one is, and this is gonna sound super cliche, but it's just to kind of be easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up when you're feeling tired and like you're feeling like you're not productive. if anything, I think like getting so tired is kind of just reminding us that we need to rest in that time. A lot's happening in the first trimester. I mean, a lot is happening the whole pregnancy, but the first trimester, a lot of the major organs are developing, you know, so your body's doing a lot. So let yourself rest. Don't feel bad. I wish I would have known this, because I did beat myself up a little bit, or I felt like I should be being more productive than I was. Let people help you. Let your husband or significant other or whoever help you. I know that I had to kind of explain to my husband like how I was feeling and what was going on, for him to kind of understand. Because I think there were times he would forget, and he would just totally forget that I was so tired or didn't have energy, or, you know, and he would expect me to be just totally normal. What else? A lot of the first trimester I stressed a lot, just about the health of the baby, if everything was going okay, and I think sometimes you can stress so much that it can take some of the joy away, and I feel like I did that a little bit to myself, and so I kind of wish I would have just relaxed a little bit. If anything happens, a lot of the time it's out of your control, and there's nothing you could have done to change that. So yeah, I wish I would have not worried as much and just kind of relaxed. Even now I still worry, like, could something be wrong, or, you know, and you kind of just have to remind yourself that, again, that's out of your hands, really. You can take every precaution in the world, do everything quote unquote right, and, you know, life is going to be what it's going to be. So yeah, to just, you know, try to enjoy, try to be excited, give yourself grace. Don't let any stresses or anxieties overwhelm the joy. This one is a little random, but I bought my husband a book off of Amazon that had really good reviews. It's not a super long book. He's only like 2 chapters in. But it's called like First Time Dad. I can link it below. And he really likes it so far, because it's actually written by a first-time dad, and he's actually funny, and I like it because it gives the dad advice, but it also lets the dad know kind of what the mom is going through, so they understand where we're at a little bit more. So I feel like that's kind of helped a little bit. Kind of recommend that, like, get them involved, get them a book. Maybe my husband's not a reader, that's why I bought a short, easy kind of book for him to actually read it. Oh, another thing is, with smartphones these days, get an app on your phone, or even a couple apps. I have 2. I have the What to Expect app and the Bump app.
Get a year of exclusive deal.
I opened it and it started playing. And I really like those. They just give you lots of little tidbits of information. They give you, you know, they tell you how baby's developing, all sorts of cool stuff. And so I really like that. So I highly suggest getting an app on your phone just to help you follow along with your pregnancy. But I think that's about it. So I'm 15 weeks. I haven't done anything. I haven't made my registries yet. I pretty much haven't done anything to like get ready. I think at this point we'll probably wait till after Christmas. We are going to find out the gender, and our appointment for that is in January, kind of right after Christmas, so after everything settles down. And then I think, you know, we'll know the gender, and then maybe I might want to know how I want to do the nursery. So maybe then we'll actually start kind of preparing and getting ready. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's what my first trimester was like. That's a little bit of advice that I have. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, like I said in the beginning, first time, not an expert, but having just come out of it, that's what I felt like in my first trimester. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Give the video a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe. I do kind of plan on sharing some of our pregnancy journey, just because I find those videos, goodness gracious, I do plan on sharing some of our pregnancy journey, because I want to be able to look back on it and watch it, and I think it could help people and be entertaining. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.